Yeah, we're live.
Live.
Woohoo! So I am here with Victoria and Natalie of the Autism Mums, and my name is Kate Lynch of Atypical Kids Mindful Parents. So thank you for being here with us if you are live, and you can put your questions for these two in the comments. You can put comments in the comments, questions for me, anything you'd like, and we're going to get right into it, but first I'm going to we had an interview um, a few weeks ago, and I'm just going to put that from Apple Podcast because that's the one I listen to into the comments. So, you have that. We'll also be putting this in as a post. So we'll have all the links to their podcast there. So I would love to know why did you two sisters come together to make this podcast?
Okay. Do you want to start?
Yeah, I can do. So, both of our sons have autism, or are autistic. So, we've both been through the journey, similar times actually, at similar times.
Yeah.
And it can be quite a lonely journey, trying to find your people and the people who understand. And as we've progressed through the journey, we found ourselves sort of talking to other parents going through the same thing. And we thought, why not do a podcast, so that other people we can help support as many people as possible.
That's
Yeah, I think
wonderful.
both of us had so much support along the way from people who were just a few steps ahead of us, who were like, you need to try this, you need to try this. And then we found ourselves in that position. Yeah. So we thought if it's a podcast, it's somewhere that people can just access that information. We can say, oh yeah, we've done that and we've talked about it here. Or yeah, that was the idea.
Yeah, rather than just one-on-one, like hearing just happen, you happen to meet someone. I know for me, I happened to meet someone in the, OT or physical therapy or speech room, waiting in the waiting room, and they would give me some little tip, or I would overhear something on the playground and be like, let me go home and Google that.
Yeah.
And to have it accessible where people can just find it when they're struggling is fantastic because sometimes we don't know the questions to ask and we certainly don't know who to ask, right? So just make sure like you say like I'm Kate, right? But just say which one of you is Victoria and which one is Natalie, just so people who are meeting you for the first time can get to know you better.
Absolutely. So I'm Victoria.
And I'm Natalie.
Thank you. And so that's your why, basically, right? And when was it that you your first episode dropped? It wasn't that long ago, right?
No,
It was end of April, wasn't it?
Yeah, end of April. Really not that long
Wow.
ago.
So how's it going?
Yeah, really well. Really well. We've had some really great feedback, haven't we? I think, particularly over the summer holidays. I know I had a mum come up to me saying, "Guys, really helped me get through the holidays listening to your podcast," which is just so lovely.
Nice.
I mean, that's why we do it. So
that's why we do it, right? I've got chills.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. As much as it is, we want to do this to reach a lot of people, it's really with those one-on-one moments that are.
Exactly.
We realize it, oh yeah, this is actually impacting someone.
Yeah, and that's what keeps you going, isn't it? We had a lovely email from somebody who listened, didn't we, a few weeks ago, and we dropped an episode on arfid just this week, and had a message from someone who said, because I mentioned that my son at one point ate so many angel cakes. I don't know that you would have them in America.
Tell us what that is.
So they're perfect rectangles, basically, made by Mr. Kipling, and they're individually wrapped. So each one looks the same as a cake you're going to get anyway. So for years, my son loved them so much that one Christmas, Sainsbury's, the supermarket, sent out and it was like a little chart of what you bought, that they tracked on the points, and they say, congratulations, in the town, you have bought the most angel cakes, which was kind of mortifying. And then my mum said also, that doesn't count the other places we buy them from.
That's just one supermarket.
One supermarket. So that was but somebody sent a message in and they went, oh my gosh, my daughter was obsessed with those for a while until we tried a different brand, and then they weren't as safe food anymore. So yeah, it's good to have these conversations.
Like maybe it's kind of like Twinkies.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're like factory made and always the
That's
same.
it.
And like is the consistency, the safety, like you said.
Yeah.
For sure. And does your kid also have arfid, Natalie?
I'm not sure. There's definitely some behaviors around food that are tricky. There's no diagnosis on that, but it's similar.
My son doesn't actually have the ARFID diagnosis. I think they put in his autism diagnosis ARFID behaviors because they said there were very strict criteria for weight and all those things. So they put ARFID behaviors. But yeah, food is one of his massive struggles.
I just, because I just had this experience, I want to share a story with you. Just a short story, but my son is 14. I don't remember exactly how old maybe Victoria, your kid.
I've got a 14-year-old and 11-year-old. Yeah.
Okay. And Natalie?
Mine's 8 and 3.
8 and 3. Okay. And do they all have neurodivergent traits, or?
Our boys have got diagnoses.
Okay.
Jury's out on the others.
Yeah. My daughter, although she's older, she's on the pathway. We've got first assessments tomorrow, actually, so probably.
Oh, wow. Gotcha. So yeah, and jury's always out on everything, right? No, we're all still figuring it out, on myself as well. You know?
Oh yeah, me too.
A lot of people say like, "Oh, don't worry, Kate, you're part of the club." You know?
I get that too.
You don't need to go to a neuropsychologist to be part of this club. We get you. We know you're part of this.
Yeah.
I'm crying. But anyway, last night, my son and I, we hadn't connected in a while. He's been just like either at school or in his room a lot, and I've been feeling pretty sad about it. So I know his special interest right now is actually nutrition, and he watches a lot of YouTube videos about nutrition. So I started asking him, it was like 11 o'clock at night, I started asking him some questions, and it was just so wonderful to hear him, talk. And then, he asked me a couple things, and I'm like, well, I don't exactly remember, but I know there were foods you liked for a short time, and then you would stop liking them and you would switch to something else. So, as much as I tried to give you like balanced nutrition, it was a struggle, and we were always trying new things, and I never gave up on any food, but, I would just say, oh, you're not, you don't care for that right now. I don't think he had ARFID or anything of the sort, but, the safety of foods, having an expectation, it's just like any other safety. Like our kids need that sense of safety, right? That nervous system regulation of having something that they can anchor to.
Yeah.
So it was just so wonderful for me to see the trajectory from a kid who, I never knew what it wasn't like he ate. I've read about kids who eat the same muffins for lunch, and their mom has to bake these muffins every day for 10 years, And I'm like, I wish I had that, because then I would know. I used to buy multiples, packs and packs of, like you said, angel cakes or something. And even last year, he got into these yogurts that were high protein. And we still have some that have just gone bad in the fridge, and I just haven't had the heart to just chuck them out. But anyway, yeah, that was my experience of like him, having this trajectory from really, eating, like never quite knowing what to feed him, to having him really interested in taking charge of his own food. And he makes his dinner now, and he loves to talk about nutrition and tell me what to order.
That's amazing.
What to get from the grocery store and all.
That's really good.
That's really
anyway.
Good.
I'd love to hear more about the podcast, and who it's for, and obviously it's for Autism Mums. That's very clear. Great title. Also, anything else you'd like to share about it so that people know if it's for them and where they can access it?
Sure. So it's for parents and carers of autistic children, and they can access it on all the usual podcast platforms, and also our website, which is www.theautismmums.com, and that's mums, M-U-M-S, the UK way. Okay.
The UK way, right?
Yes.
And what I've noticed is you also are amazing advocates. So I saw recently on social media that you had gone to a demonstration or a protest. Can you talk about that?
Sure. Yeah, that was just last Monday.
Mhm.
So we went up to London for a SEND rally had been arranged called Fight for Ordinary. It's
Okay.
all to do
Can
with,
you tell
yeah.
us the acronym SEND because it's different here?
Oh, okay. Special educational needs development. So,
Okay.
yeah, those children that require something, above, I suppose, really in education, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
So the government have been talking about abolishing EHCPs. So I think you have something different as well, don't you? Is it IEPs
Yeah.
or okay, so for a lot of us, like that's how our children get what they need. So my son's in specialist school, so is yours, a different one. But without the EHCPs, that
It's a legal
it's a
document,
legal
isn't it?
document. It's a legal
That gets reviewed every year.
Right. Is there a
So
meeting for that? And are
yes,
you there at the meeting? Yeah, so
yeah.
it's
So
like an IEP.
parents,
Mhm.
teachers, and then any healthcare professionals involved as well.
Right.
And then it really outlines in a lot of detail what their needs are, how the school support them, how they're supported in health as well.
Mhm.
Um,
It's true.
and any and the aims for the future is so for their education,
Goal.
what they're working
People
to.
get so
Yeah, so it's a really important document, but the fact that it's legal as well is quite,
yes,
and that's
gives
the
them that
thing.
protection, and it's in place till they're 25.
Mm,
Mhm.
So you fight quite hard to get it in a lot of cases
in the first place.
in the first place. But
Absolutely.
and it may be the same for you, but the local council's budgets are completely, I think they're all overspent. They're all struggling. So it seems like the government was suggesting just get rid of all of this then and save a lot of money. We'll just take them away. Take it away. We'll take away tribunals. This was
They're thinking of taking away the legal,
Mhm.
so they're giving more power
Right.
to like the local councils,
Okay.
and in a lot of cases, the local councils is where it's not being managed so well anyway. So you're
They're
giving more power
gatekeeping.
to that
Yeah,
layer.
and hoarding the
yes.
money and yeah.
And sort of vague things have come out saying that, trying to reassure parents, I suppose, but it was saying, more support is going to be given within mainstream schools, but children with complex needs will still be able to access specialist schools, but it's all very hazy, which is what's causing, well, it's certainly causing my concern.
Yeah.
What's complex needs? Who's going to decide this?
And what happens to the in-between people?
The in-between people, because I certainly know well, both our children couldn't access mainstream school, but would they be deemed as having complex needs? And I'm sure that's true for so many children.
Mine too. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's really the demonstration was arranged to go ahead of the MPs were debating it at an education select committee later that day. So who organised it? Was it Send Sanctuary?
Yes.
Send Sanctuary UK organised a demonstration, and they did such a good job of telling people where to be, and they arranged for great speakers from different organisations.
Oh, wonderful.
Some MPs did actually come, and there was journalists there as well. So really raising awareness of this issue. So we just thought that we could be there, so we would be there to lend support and make as much noise as possible. Especially, we could be there, but there's a lot of parents who couldn't be there because their children are out of school or, little and things like that. So
Yeah.
it's just
Or they're
important.
just, there could be financial reasons or
Yes.
there could be other things that make it
Absolutely.
impossible. Yeah, I love
Absolutely.
that. It's like, if you can,
Mm-hmm.
do. And I know when my son was younger, I couldn't imagine being the parent who could get up there and advocate and, start thinking about other people's kids and the whole systemic ableism that is affecting our kids and will affect the future for our kids. So it's great to be in a position where advocating is even an option.
Yeah, definitely. And I think when it comes to your children, the inner lioness comes out, doesn't it? Yeah, certainly does for
Right.
me.
Inner lioness, but sometimes, you're just licking your own wounds too,
Yeah.
like,
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
you
for
know,
sure.
I just Eric, wrote I guess about the feeding issue, my mother couldn't find anything I would like when I was a child. Um, and then also saying that that would have been helpful when my daughter was in school. The process is overwhelming um, for this neurodivergent parent. Yeah. So, one thing about my community is it's not just parents of neurodivergent kids. There are a lot of neurodivergent parents as well. And neurodivergent parents often have neurodivergent kids, but even if your kids are neurotypical, there's still so many struggles, right? Because how do we navigate, our own needs at the same time as we're helping? But, I think that what they're saying is it wasn't until her senior year that she finally flourished in school. So they're having a child who is also struggling. Um, and I know for myself, I was never diagnosed as a child, but whoa, I had a lot of labels anyway. And I had a lot of struggles anyway. And it wasn't that school was hard, but everything else was hard. The social aspects were hard. The um the changes in my life, in my home life were hard. And then when we're raising our own kids, it's like all of that like comes flooding back. I don't know about you, but every year my son, like as he, when he turned 5, I had memories flood back from when I was 5 that I hadn't had access to. When he was 12, same thing. I was like, whoa. Have you had that experience?
Yeah. You've had it a lot.
Yeah, definitely. I struggled at school quite a lot. I didn't like the environment of school, particularly secondary school. I think I found difficult because it was like the changing classroom every lesson, different teachers. I hated it if we had a supply teacher. I couldn't deal with the change. I was just a bag of nerves, basically. I coped academically, but I did end up leaving 6 months early because I just couldn't do it anymore. I was burnt out. And yeah, all those memories definitely come back, and I'm seeing it through different eyes now.
So it makes more sense, I think, for you, doesn't it, when you see your children's struggles, and then I know you certainly say that that's how I know, that's how I felt at that age. That's how, it's making a lot of sense, I think, to you, isn't it?
But it's also helpful because I'm seeing it through their eyes and what they're struggling with, and I'm thinking back, well, those are the things I struggled with too. But I can also empathize and help support them a bit more. I don't know.
I feel the same way. And then also something gets healed in me in a way.
Yeah.
Like being there for them. I'm also somehow there and caring for myself in ways that I didn't, I needed to be cared for in certain ways. And now by being able to be there for my son in those ways, it's almost like reparenting.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And the burnout, I know you mentioned burnout. That is so real. Do you have an episode about burnout?
We don't at the moment, do we?
We could do one. Yeah, it's a good idea.
That would be a good one. Yeah.
Both kids and parents, right? Like parental burnout is such a huge struggle.
Yeah.
Sure. But the kids too. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I remember when my son was beginning to really struggle at school, thinking, do I really want to go down the route where I've got to fight and I've got to put myself in that position? Because it didn't feel like it. I naturally wanted to fight, I was thinking maybe I'd homeschool him, and I was weighing up all the options. And I just remember being in the car thinking, is this going to be a push to get him what he needs? And I just decided I was going to do it. But it is a strain on parents, isn't it? Like having to advocate for your child, and when you're new to it as well, if it's the beginning. I mean, we're way down the line now. I'm used to it, but having to tell people, like, for example, his AHCP, when it came back, it said mainstream school. And he was attending. It was ridiculous. I think his attendance was 15% that year. He was just going in for lunch times, and sometimes he couldn't even interact while he was there in the playground, but he just wanted to see his friends. And yet the educational psychologist came in and she said mainstream, and the teacher was flabbergasted. I was, because he was about to change to the next school. And it's that that's such disappointment. I remember when it came through and it said that, and knowing that you're going to have to do the next step. So I said, fine, then we're going to go to tribunal. And it's so much on parents. It's so stressful. So
I think it's because it comes at that time when you're learning about autism itself. So I don't know about you, but we had all the books and all the online courses we can possibly, like, how can we support them? How can we look after them in the best way? But also you've got the added layer of how do I advocate? What is the legal?
And making sure everyone else is
What am I right?
what they need. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you might have other people in your life who also need support. And what about you?
Yeah, that's it.
I know.
Yeah. A lady at the demonstration, I can't remember which organisation she was from, but she said everyone here deserves an award for filling out the most paperwork. Our community fills out the most paperwork in society.
And put that burden on parents of autistic kids is just criminal. I really think it's criminal. And I mean, I've always been scrappy. I'm not, I'm not someone to back down. I'm a New Yorker. I'm a Brooklyn girl. I'm not someone to back down from conflict. I don't like it. My nervous system doesn't like it, but I'm no English lass, like not to stereotype, but I'm pretty scrappy, but I still I didn't have it in me. I didn't have the energy. I didn't have and there were times even, more recently, I had a friend say, you should at least go and tour these high schools. That would be a better fit for your kid. And my kid is even though it's not mainstream, the inclusive classroom that he's in, this type of support he gets, he is in public schools. So to go through that whole process of, even if it's a better school, like the fact that he is doing all right, I've got him in a place that he's doing all right. He doesn't really want to change. I just said, I don't have it in me. I don't have it in me. There's too much else going on. I've got a husband with a disability as well. Before we move on, I want to read this from Eric's Corner. Many of us grew up learning to parent ourselves before diagnosis was more common. We often learn to learn what our parents didn't know what to teach. Yeah, absolutely. It's like we're just piecing it together without enough. I mean, the information is out there, but how do you even find it? Unless there's a podcast like yours, right? and mine. And yeah, it's not just about learning what to do, but even having the energy and the capacity to do it.
Yeah, I mean, my daughter was newborn at the time all this was going on, so I was really sleep deprived and all of that on top of everything. I don't know how I did it now, but but we do.
Yeah, well, we do. We muster it up.
Yeah.
What else?
I remember actually Natalie talking about her own experiences that as a family we misunderstood a lot. And, I remember our parents being quite, you must go to school because you have to go to school. And she was having panic attacks and it was awful, awful. I can remember that because I'm a little bit older. And I remember saying to you, you've just got to go to school, and not having any understanding that we have now. And it's as we've learned with our children, you look back with horror, don't you? And
and as a big sister myself, I just feel my heart is breaking for you.
Just awful.
Well, actually, it's because of her that I got my GCSE qualifications, because you helped me an awful lot, didn't you? So I did them in a room on my own, but Victoria used to drive me because she was old enough to drive. So she used to drive and wait outside the school for me in her car while I did my exams.
I did. Yes, I remember.
So she's a big part of why I managed to get those things. So, yeah, she was always brilliant.
Well, thank you. I think I could have been better.
We always think about how we could have been there for our little sisters more, right?
Yeah.
Great.
No, you did a good job. You did a good job.
Thank you.
You did a good job. That's great.
Aww.
And it prepares us, right? In some way. We don't even know.
I think I was really good training for you, wasn't
it? Yeah, really good training. Yes. So it was like, okay, here we go again.
I just think it's so lovely that you guys have each other to do this podcast together.
Yeah.
And it creates such a nice environment, being interviewed by you. I know Natalie wasn't able to be there, but Victoria is such a pro, and having listened to your episodes already, I really felt so much like I knew you both, and it just created a really welcoming environment where I felt like I could be at my best. So
Brilliant.
yeah,
That's
so
good.
thank you. And those of you who haven't listened to this episode yet, it's about nervous system regulation for the parents and little things you could do to care for yourself.
So important
when you don't have much time. Yeah.
It's such a useful episode because I think everyone can benefit from that, because we do often put ourselves just to the bottom of the pile when we're doing all this. And those tips that you shared are so useful.
Yeah. Really good.
Thanks. Well, I can't believe it's already been almost half an hour, and I want to know what else you'd like to tell parents who are listening.
Just that they're not
Any advice you'd like to give them? Sorry, what was that?
Just that they're not alone. It can feel very lonely. I always remember being told to seek out the other parents because they're there. You just have to find them. And once you do start having those conversations with the parents that understand, you start building a community yourself. And it's, we've got friends now, and it's just so helpful having those people to share the experiences with.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember my son was in preschool, and as we dropped our kids off, there was a parent that I knew pretty well, and I liked her a lot. She complained that her child had they were 2, 3 years old, had 5 meltdowns last week, and I said, "Oh my God, my son had 5 meltdowns this morning," and she looked at me like I was lying. She looked at me like that's impossible, and I just felt so isolated, even though this was a very nice parent, who was trying to connect. No one got it until
And that's hard.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes all the difference.
So, anything else that you'd like to make sure we say before we say goodbye?
Just come along and listen to the podcast.
We want to support as much people as possible. So, if there's any questions that anyone's got, reach out to us.
Or any topics you want us to cover, let us know, because we've already got this suggestion of burnout, which is brilliant. But we just want to create as much useful content for parents and carers as we can, because we're learning along the way as well.
Yeah, you're building a community, and that is wonderful, and you're sharing what you know. So thank you so much. I just want to tell you how grateful I am for you both and for your advocacy work and what you're putting out into the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us. Yeah, and thank you for all you do. It's wonderful to have you on the podcast.
Thank you. And if you've been on live, thank you for being here with us live. And if you're listening to the replay, we'll make sure that all of the links to everything are down below. So that you can access the Autism Mums podcast.
Brilliant. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.